Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Bear Healthy Community Kitchen for another episode of Cooking with Carmen. My name is Claire, and I'll be filling in for Carmen today for our episode. Today's show is all about spring fruits and vegetables. I'll be demonstrating two simply delicious recipes for you and an adorable craft that the entire family will love. As the weather starts to get warmer and the days get a little longer, you may start to see a wider variety of fresh fruits and vegetables at the farmer's market and also at your local grocery store. Eating seasonally and purchasing local produce has a number of benefits. Number one, eating seasonally increases the variety of fruits and vegetables in your diet. When you eat what's in season in your area, you're more likely to eat a wider variety of fresh fruits and vegetables. It may also motivate you to try new produce and test out new recipes. Eating seasonally may also increase your intake of specific vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Number two, eating seasonally is budget friendly. So fresh produce that is typically more cost friendly when it's in season compared to when it's out of season. Number three, eating seasonally supports your local economy and farmers. So purchasing produce from local vendors is a great way to invest in your community and keep your community unique with local businesses and farms. I encourage you to venture to a local farmer's market this season and purchase some fresh fruits and vegetables there. And finally, eating seasonally and locally benefits the environment. So purchasing seasonal fruits and vegetables that are also local may help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and energy usage. If you try to eat seasonally in Missouri, you're in luck. Here are just a few of our favorite Missouri spring fruits and vegetables. You've got asparagus, strawberries, spinach, beets, peas, and radishes, and many more. So let's dive into our recipes. So our first recipe today, we're making a spring pasta with asparagus and lemon. For this recipe, you'll need 8 ounces of a shortcut pasta, such as orzo or rotini would be really good, 2 tablespoons of vegetable or olive oil, 3 garlic cloves that are just minced up, 1 large bunch of asparagus, a cup of peas. You can use frozen or even no sodium or low sodium canned peas work great. You'll need a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 lemon, some fresh herbs, or you can even use dried. I'm going to be using dill today, but you could use parsley or basil. And then I've got some cheese of your choice. So I'm using Feta today, but goat or even a Parmesan cheese would work great. And then I like to season mine with some black pepper and red pepper flakes, which are completely optional. So I've already cooked my pasta according to package directions on the box. You want to make sure it's al dente or it has a little bit of a bite to it because we're going to continue to cook it in the pan. I just cooked up my pasta, and when I strained it, I actually reserved a half a cup of the pasta cooking water. So this is going to help kind of loosen up our pasta once we're cooking it. And I encourage you to start doing this if you're making sauces at home, because that pasta cooking water has the salt that you cook the pasta in, and also it has more flavor than just regular tap water at that point. Okay, so I'm going to start by heating my pan over medium heat, and we're just going to add in our oil. And we're going to saute this garlic just till it's fragrant, and just about like a minute or so. Okay, so just about a minute. We don't want to burn it. Now I'm going to prep my asparagus. So this is 1 bunch of asparagus. I've already cut some, but the easiest way to trim asparagus when it says it calls for it to be trimmed, there's kind of this woody end. You can kind of bend it, and wherever it naturally snaps, that's where you can discard the woody end, and then you have your tender piece of the asparagus. So I'm just going to go ahead and snap all of these up. I love using asparagus in recipes, and I chose a thinner variety of asparagus because it cooks a little bit faster. And then we're just going to go ahead and chop our asparagus into 1-inch pieces. That trick, what I did with the asparagus right there, is a really great thing for kids to do. They can have fun snapping the asparagus. All right, that's prepped. And then peas. So I have 1 cup of frozen peas. I just let them thaw at room temp, but you can also use the canned peas as well. Just use a low sodium or no sodium variety and maybe give them a rinse before you cook with them. All right, so our garlic starting to smell really good. I'm gonna turn my heat down just a little bit. And now we're just gonna saute our asparagus and our peas together with the garlic and the oil. And our peas in. And you're gonna see it becomes very bright green and tender. Give this a quick stir. We're gonna cook this for about 3 to 5 minutes, just until the asparagus is tender and the peas are warmed. Okay, I'm gonna clean up a little bit, and then we're gonna prep the rest of our ingredients. All right, so for my lemon, we need the zest, and we also need the juice from our lemon. So if you don't have a lemon zester, you can actually use the smallest holes on a box grater. Technical difficulties. So we're just gonna zest this up. I love adding the zest of like oranges or lemons or even limes to your dishes because it just adds like an extra pop or kind of like a zinginess to your dish. Very concentrated citrus flavor, which is awesome. And you don't want to zest, you just want to get that outer yellow part of the lemon. You don't want to dig too deep into that white pith because that's a little bitter. Okay. Like that. And then we're going to juice our lemon. Give this a stir. Ooh, it's so bright and green, so pretty. Okay, got my lemon. Juice that up. Okay. And now for our fresh herbs. So we're using fresh dill, but like I said, you could use parsley or basil. Did you actually know that we have garden beds at Operation Food Search? So we have 4 garden beds, 2 on either side of the building, where we grow fresh herbs. Last year we grew cherry tomatoes. Those are our cherry tomatoes. We grew bell peppers and even some varieties of hot peppers too. We'll be planting mid-April. So if you're at Operation Food Search, make sure to check out our garden beds on either side of the building to see what we're growing this year. Okay, I'm going to chop up my fresh dill, and you can use dried herbs too. Okay. Okay, so our asparagus is tender, our peas are warmed through, and we're going to finish up our recipe. So now that that's cooked, we're going to add in our cooked pasta. So I'm using a really fun new shape, but something short. Stir that up. We're going to season that with our lemon zest, our fresh dill, and our lemon juice. Stir that up. Okay. And now we can add in our salt too. That's a half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to do a little bit of fresh black pepper and a pinch of red pepper flake. I like this because it adds a little bit of spice, a little heat. Just gonna clean up my station a little bit. Okay. Now, if your pasta, if it looks a little dry, and mine does, I'm going to add in some of that reserved pasta cooking water. So just a splash. You don't need too much, but just kind of eyeball it up the pasta. It's already cooked. We're just warming it through. Ooh, yum. Okay, I'm going to turn off my heat. And now I'm going to fold in my cheese. So I'm using about a half a cup of feta cheese. You could use goat cheese or Parmesan cheese, or just leave it out. Add that in. And the cheese is going to melt and kind of create like a creamy sauce. Oh, so good. Oh, look at that. So easy too. Okay, we're gonna set this aside and I'm going to work on our next recipe. So this next recipe is for a roasted strawberries. So you might have cooked your strawberries on a stovetop, but I really love this recipe of roasting strawberries because when you roast fruits or vegetables, it brings out natural sweetness of the fresh fruit or vegetable. So we're gonna roast it in the oven. So I preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And what you'll need for this recipe is a pound of strawberries. I just cut off the stems or hold them and then halve them. If they're larger strawberries, you might wanna quarter them. You can also keep some of the smaller ones whole for some textural variations. You'll also need 1 to 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. You can, I put the range of 1 to 2 because taste your strawberries. If they're naturally sweet, that's when you can go on the lower end of less sugar. But if they need a little bit more sweetness, use more of the 2 tablespoons worth. You'll also need some vanilla extract, which is completely optional. Actually don't have any today, so it's optional in our recipe. And then you'll need a half a lemon again. So for this recipe, what you'll do is just use a baking dish. I'm using like a 9-inch square baking dish. You can spray yours with cooking spray. This is nonstick, so I don't need to do that. You can also use a pie plate for this recipe. Anything that's oven safe. And we're gonna toss in our strawberries. And then we're gonna sprinkle on some of that sugar. So I'm not gonna use the full 2 tablespoons because mine were really nice and sweet. Give that a quick little stir. And you're gonna pop this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're jammy and they're starting to kind of get brown on the tips. And you can stir them halfway through because you don't want them to burn. Pop these in. And thanks to TV magic, we already have some done. So as you can see, they've really cooked down a lot, but they're kind of golden brown. They're really jammy and delicious. And it's so easy because you can just pop them in the oven and you don't have to worry about them on the stovetop. So I'm just going to, this is when you would add in your vanilla if you were using it, but I'm going to squeeze in some lemon to help brighten this up. And give that a quick stir. So good. So you could serve this on ice cream would be really good. We're gonna serve ours with some vanilla or plain yogurt. Really great for breakfast or a really simple dessert topping. Ooh. So good. Or oatmeal, that would be even more delicious. Look how beautiful. Oh, so pretty. You can even put some like basil on top, like fresh basil. That would be so good. I'm gonna move this aside. Plate up our pasta. So good. So both of these recipes are very easy and they showcase those seasonal Missouri fruits and veggies. We're using peas, we've got asparagus, fresh strawberries. I encourage you to get out and maybe go to a local farm and pick your own strawberries this season. That would be really fun. So these are our 2 recipes. I hope you make them. Make sure you check them out in our caption and they'll be there. Finally, I have one really fun craft for you. I'm very excited about this craft. So if I got excited for it, you know kids will too. So these are for finger animal puppets. I made a little turtle There's his little legs. So cute. I also made an elephant. So your finger is his trunk. I mean, so fun. But I'm going to be showing you how to make this little chick for spring. This is so cute. So for the chick, you'll just need some cardstock, or even found some of this like harder like felt that you could use. Anything that will hold its shape. And you just cut it into various shapes. You'll need some scissors. I have a smaller pair of scissors. You can also use a large hole punch for these holes. For kids, fingers are a little bit smaller, so they actually might be able to use a standard hole punch. But I just cut them out because I have adult fingers, so they're a little bit bigger. I just cut them out with a small scissors. You'll need some glue. I just used like some standard craft stick glue. And then we had some googly eyes. And then also for its beak, I just cut out another piece of cardstock or paper that's a little square, and you can just bend that in half to make its beak. Glue it all together, put some feathers on there if you've got them at home. They can draw all over your, look at that little turtle. It's so fun. I'm just gonna be playing around with these all day. So we really hope you enjoyed these crafts and these 2 recipes. And I hope that you can get outside to enjoy some of this beautiful weather that we're having. Remember to like our Facebook page if you haven't already. Leave a comment below if you enjoyed today's recipe or if you've tried out these recipes. And visit our website at operationfoodsearch.org to learn more about our work. Follow us at opfoodsearch on Instagram to check out more recipes and our Instagram reels. And until then, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We hope you enjoyed today's recipe. And until then, stay healthy.